Hey nerdy friends, welcome to the craft corner of LibraryCon. I'm Morgan from the Goshen Branch Library and I have some really cool tutorials to show you today. The one we're going to start with is all about nerdy luminaries, and luminaries are really cool sources of light that you can use on maybe your bedside table at night, or maybe you want to put them on your shelves as bookends, all kinds of cool stuff. So we're going to head on over to the craft table and work on making some really cool nerdy luminaries with just a few simple things that you might already have around your house. So let's go on over. All right, welcome to the craft table where all the fun crafting happens. I'm going to show you today how to make our nerdy luminaries a couple different ways. So I've got some jars here, and these are all just jars that are repurposed. I've got these that were sauce jars at some point, different sizes. This one even has some numbers on it that'll get covered up. This one was an old spaghetti sauce jar. You can find these little ones. This one had yogurt in it. So all kinds of cool little glass jars that you can use to repurpose and to make into a luminary. And a luminary basically is just a jar like this with some sort of light source inside of it. And what I have today to use for a light source are these little flickering fake tea light candles, which are great. So they're electronic. You don't ever have to worry about burning anything with these. You can just switch them on and off like that. And some of the fun ways that you can decorate these jars is with decoupage, which is just like a gluey substance. There are different brands you can buy, or if you don't want to buy specific decoupage material, you can make it just out of glue and a little bit of water. And if you want to do decoupage, then you'll need something to stick onto it. You could stick tissue paper onto it. One of the things I'm excited to try is these pages from graphic novels. So I found an old graphic novel that we had discarded here at the library, and I cut out some images from it, and I'm going to decoupage them onto one of these jars to make a luminary. Another thing you could do is try hot gluing different things onto it. There's these really cool acrylic gems that we have. They kind of look like D&D dice. So if you like Dungeons and Dragons and want to make a luminary themed like that, these acrylic gems are really cool. They look kind of like dice. You can also use these flat back marbles. They make really cool luminaries. And I actually have an example of one of those that I already made the other day. I decided to try and make a Star Wars themed luminary set with these little yogurt glass containers. And I just hot glued these flat marbles onto it. So I tried to pick color schemes of the droids. So this one's supposed to be kind of like BB-8, and this one's a little bit like R2-D2. And they make a nice little set that you could use on your bedside table, or maybe you want to use them as bookends on your bookshelf. I think that would be really cool. So I made these already, and now we are going to learn how to do a decoupage jar. So I think I'm going to go with this one. It's pretty flat all the way around, and it doesn't have too many markings on it. So we're going to give this one a go. I'm going to take the lid off. And what you're going to do is take your decoupage liquid. It just looks like this, like a milky, gluey substance, and put it in some kind of container. And you're going to want to use a brush like this that has a sponge tip. That's better to get the decoupage onto the glass jar. So you're just going to take some decoupage, and you're just going to kind of paint your jar with it, like so. Like that. Not too difficult. Sometimes kind of therapeutic. Just brush it back and forth. It's calming and relaxing. And then once you have some of your decoupage on there, you can just take your images and stick them on. So I've got that one. And then once you stick them on, you'll want to take some more decoupage and go over top of it so that it really stays on there good. You get all the corners down. And it looks like right now, like it's covering up my image, but that's okay because it's gonna dry clear. So when it's all done, you won't see any of this milky color anymore. And as I was painting it, it was kind of moving around a little, and that's okay too. I like how it looks right there in the center. So then I'm just going to apply some more decoupage. And I'm just gonna stick another image on there. This one's cool. It's got some vehicles on it. I think a TIE fighter, X-Wing. Stick that on there. And you can use comic or graphic novel pages from any kind of fandom that you like. These are all about nerddom and fandom and showing what you are interested in. You could even, if you don't have any graphic novels or comic books laying around your house, you could cut out the comics from the newspaper, or you could just draw your own and then decoupage them on. Maybe you like to do your own art and you want to make a luminary with your own designs. That'd be pretty cool too. So I've got that one on there. I'm just gonna stick another one. And you can layer them on top of each other too to make a cool design. So you'll have bits and pieces of all your images just kind of layered on top of each other. And I'm just gonna keep kind of working around. I just picked images that I like. There's one of C-3PO, he's pretty cool. So maybe I'll put him right there, kind of around the corner. And I kind of cut them all in different sizes and shapes too. Some of the images I just cut the entire square out from the graphic novel. Some of them I kind of fit to shape what the image was. You can make big ones, little ones. I'll put some more decoupage over here. I might add this image. Stick it down. And you can make this look however you want. Maybe you want to cover the whole thing in graphic novel pages or newspaper pages or whatever you're using. Maybe you just want to cover some of the areas and leave some of the areas just where you see the jar. And that'd be kind of cool too, to let some of the light shine through in different ways. And if your paper isn't quite doing what you want, you can always use your finger and just kind of move it around to get it to stick a certain way. Like that. There might be a little bit of wrinkling, but that's okay too. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just fun. Put some more on this spot that's left over here. Let's see. I've got this one that's cool. It's a big X-Wing image. So maybe I'll put that kind of across here. Like so. See, this one's so big that it is going across multiple pictures. So maybe I like that, or maybe I want to move it down a little like that so it only covers part of it. That looks pretty cool. You can kind of see his face poking through. That's cool. Looks kind of artsy. And kind of push that down there. Get some more decoupage liquid. And we'll cover it up. It's looking pretty good so far. I've got some images all around my luminary jar. It's a little patchworky, but that's okay. I kind of like how it looks like that, because then I still have some parts of the jar clear. As I said before, that might be cool to see how the light shines through that way. So I've got that like that. Can always go through and get some of this excess off. If there's a little too much, just put it somewhere else. like that. And there I've got some images on there. And just kind of start to let it dry and see what it's going to look like as it dries. We'll see if we want to go back through and put any more images on there. So that's basically how you would do the decoupage. And again, you can cover in all of the jar if you want, or you can leave blank spaces. I'm going to set this one aside so that it starts to dry. While that one is drying, I think we should try and maybe do some with these acrylic gems and see how these work. And I think I'm going to do them on this small one again. I like these small ones. They're really fun. And for this, all you're going to need is a hot glue gun. Hot glue is going to work the best to get it to stick really well since these are plastic. And you can find these probably at just about any craft store or maybe online. I really like these green ones. These are cool. Got some scissors here to cut it open with. I like these clear ones too. Maybe I'll do a little mix and match of the colors. Alternate. I've got some clear gems and some green gems. I've got my hot glue gun. So you're basically just going to take your jar and put some hot glue on it. I do a little bit at a time because it does dry fast. And then just kind of stick your gems on. So there's a clear one. Maybe I'll put this green one. You can probably stick them however you want. Maybe then another clear one. These are cool too, though, just the way they're shaped. You can move them around. These all kind of look more like diamonds. I think I might use some of this package too on the next row because these look a little more like the dice I was talking about before. So then you just kind of go around. You can do these however you want. You can alternate your colors. You can try and make a design like I did a little bit with the ones that are supposed to represent droids. And you just stick onto your hot glue. And it's pretty simple. It's a really easy, fun way to make something that means something to you and might represent something that you enjoy. A little more hot glue there, and let's stick on some more gems. So like that. Put this one like that. Alternate, get another green one, another clear one. Maybe I don't like how that's positioned. That's okay too. When it's still drying, you can take it off pretty easily if you don't like how it's positioned. Just add some more glue. I'm gonna put that one that way. Got this one like that. And I'll put this one point out again. Kind of makes it look very medieval or like a spear, maybe something that would be used in a fantasy game or story. Put something like that. And I'll put one like that. And these are cool too, since because these are shaped so oddly and they don't have to lay flat, you can just kind of fit it in there if you get to the very end. And it doesn't look like it's gonna fit, just kind of find a way that it does since they're all shaped differently. So that looks kind of cool. I think I might try some of these too that look more dice shaped. There's some clear ones in here, also some light green ones, some darker green ones. So as you can see, the ones I used before, they look more like diamond shaped. You can see these look a little more like dice. They've got a lot of different sides to them. So these might be kind of fun to add to our fantasy D&D themed luminary. So I'll just put some more glue on like that. And I'm just going to start sticking them in. These are cool too, since they have so many shapes, they can kind of fit up against each other. And you can just kind of wiggle them around and see what works for you. I like those. Those look really cool. And again, a lot of the stuff I'm using, you may already have around your house. The jars that you can repurpose from different foods. Maybe you already have a hot glue gun because you're crafty. Maybe you already have some decoupage or some paint stuff, or just regular glue that you can make into decoupage. You could really glue anything you want onto these. You don't even have to go out and buy anything. And I'm just alternating colors because I think it looks nice. But you can do this however you want. So I'm going to keep going and fill the rest of this up, and I will meet you at the end to show you the finished result. All right, and there is our really cool D&D themed luminary. It's got all these cool gems all over it. Some of them kind of represent dice. Maybe they just kind of look like dragon scales and it's just the dragons part of Dungeons and Dragons. But I think it's pretty cool. It just looks like something that might be reminiscent of a really great fantasy adventure. What's so fun about these two is that if you like fandom but you want to be subtle about it, it's very subtle. So maybe somebody else would see this as just some pretty gems, but you know what it really means, what it means to you in your heart. So I think now we should put one of these flickering tea lights inside and see how it looks. Turn that on, drop it in, and you've got your glowing luminary. Super fun. All right, guys, it's been a little while, about an hour and a half or so since I finished the Decoupage Luminary, so I think it's time to check in and see if it is all the way dry. There it is. I think it looks pretty cool. I did go back in while it was drying and add a little more images to the top. I added a few more images from the graphic novels, a few more in some of those blank spaces. But I do still have some where it's just the glass, like there's a little bit here, there's some down at the bottom, a little bit poking out here, up at the top here. And I like how that looks because I think it's going to look really cool once we put one of those tea light candles in here. Another cool thing, if you don't have those little flickering tea lights, you could always get a strand of fairy lights or like lights you'd put on like a Christmas tree or something and stick them inside. That might be kind of cool too. And then there's all different kinds of colors you could put inside. All right, so now I think it's time that we put this on a bookshelf, stick one of these candles inside, and see how bright this gets in comparison to some of our smaller ones that we used the gems and things on. So I'm going to set them up on a shelf and see how they look. All right, and there we have our droid luminaries. Looks super cool as bookends. Love to see how the light flickers through in between those flat marbles. It looks very, very cool. And then we've got our D&D inspired fantasy adventure luminary that we made today. Flickering there. The candle definitely makes the stones take on the color of the candle instead with that orange flame. You could probably find some lights that are more white in color than orange, so that way the luminary would shine as the stone's colors. I think that still looks really cool. I love all the textures on that one. Definitely reminds me of an epic fantasy adventure. I've got our final luminary that we made, our Decoupage graphic novel luminary. This one looks really cool when you have the little light flickering and the rest of the lights in the room off. You can definitely see the flickering flame through bits of the glass that were uncovered and through the top of the jar. I think these look great. I'm sure that yours look really great too. Thank you so much for joining me today and crafting our nerdy luminaries. I hope you learned something. I hope you had fun. And I hope you're having an amazing virtual LibraryCon. Be sure to check out our LibraryCon website to see everything else that's going on this weekend. There's so many cool events going on. If you'd like to show off the really cool luminaries that you made today, be sure to take a picture, post it on social media, and tag us at Clermont Library so we can see your amazing nerdy creations. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time with another tutorial. Bye-bye!